Hey, everybody. We totally understand that you might have some questions surrounding HR issues in your companies. The reason we know that is because we've gotten a lot of calls from many of you about issues concerning the vaccine, concerning the going back to work, concerning masks in the workplace, and harassment. And so we know that some companies, the big companies, may have 50 or 60 HR people all researching this, as well as attorneys, but you may not have that resource. And so we wanted to provide you some information as a resource. So we're putting together a webinar for next week, and I've got Karen Moss with me today. And Karen, as you know, she works on our team. She's an HR expert, over 30 years of HR, just like me. And we have been really doing some research on this topic, on these topics, and how they impact your small business. And so we're going to be putting together a webinar, and there's going to be information in this email about when it is. It's next week. But we wanted to share with you a little bit of the things that we're going to be talking about. Karen, what are you seeing out there as far as questions that we've been being asked?
So I think that it's important to make sure people understand that what's coming up is it's that it's that difficult position of, okay, I want to keep my employees safe, right? As an employer, it's really important that I do that. But at the same time, it's really important that we respect our employees' privacy. And so it's that balancing act, right, of between maintaining someone's privacy, but also keeping the workplace safe. And so one of the areas that we get so many questions about is with regard to vaccines. So let's say that you've got two employees who happen to be talking to one another, and they both happen to be vaccinated, and they're talking about that, and they notice that one of their coworkers, and they're not wearing a mask because they do not have to according to the CDC, and they notice that one of their coworkers across the way is wearing a mask. And so they're thinking, wow, wonder why they're wearing a mask. I bet they didn't get vaccinated. And so they immediately want to go over and engage in conversation just because they like this person, they care about this person. They're thinking that this person must not have gotten vaccinated. So they want to go over and engage in conversation with this person and find out why they're wearing a mask. Well, there could be a number of reasons for that. Someone could be wearing a mask because they haven't been vaccinated. Someone could be wearing a mask because they have and they choose to wear a mask. Okay, they don't have to not wear a mask. They could have health reasons for wearing a mask. They could have religious reasons for wearing a mask. And so it's so easy because people are used to talking about things, and they've been vaccinated and they want to know why this person's wearing a mask. And so innocently, out of concern, they want to engage in conversation with their coworker to find out why that person is wearing a mask.
Yeah, and so what happens in that case? And like, what kind of liability might they have, or what kind of things might happen in the workplace when somebody innocently does that?
So, again, it's protecting as the employer, right? As the small business owner, we want to protect our employees and respect their privacy. And the problem with that is you have got possibly the Americans with Disabilities Act, the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, where someone could take that as you're asking me because you somehow want to find out about my religion or my personal beliefs, or perhaps there's a medical condition I have and you're suddenly asking me, and I feel like I might have to disclose that information to you, and I don't want to. So you've got a host of laws, right, that you're really breaking when you think about asking those questions, and it's not appropriate. And so what you're doing is you're really potentially creating for your business a situation where by doing that, someone could feel as though they're being attacked because of their religion, because of their race, because of a medical disability perhaps. But also you may be creating a hostile work environment, right? And most businesses now have harassment policies. And part of harassment is bullying someone, making someone talk about something that they're uncomfortable talking about. and that's creating a hostile work environment. So you've got all those different issues that perhaps your employee certainly didn't think about, but as the employer, these are things that you need to think about. And it's just not appropriate for employees, even though they're concerned or they're curious, to ask these questions about whether or not someone's had a vaccine, why they're wearing a mask or not wearing a mask. Any of those things really should be confidential.
So what we're saying here is that a lot of things that you might not even know, and definitely your employees probably don't know, could put you and them at risk. And so as we go into this next couple of weeks as this kind of gray area with vaccines, back to work, masks, those kind of things, we wanted to come and do a long video a long webinar with you. It'll be about 45 minutes long. And we want to take your questions. So what we're asking you to do is kind of go ahead and submit your questions. And this email will share with you how to do that. And so you're going to submit your questions to us in advance so that we can do some research on them, because honestly, even though we've been in HR for a lot of years, these are very new issues, and we want to make sure that we have the right answers for you. And if we don't have answers, if they're answers that only our attorney friends can answer, then of course we're going to tell you that, and we're going to give you any kind of recommendation to an attorney, a labor attorney that you would want. So anyway, we hope you'll join the webinar. If you don't, we're going to be recording it, and so you can at a later date. So please send us your questions. We're going to be going over, like I said, things like vaccines, going over masking, going over back to work. I bet you don't know some of the statistics about, should I go back to work 5 days a week, or is there a better way to do that? And then training, we probably need to give our employees on what to say and what not to say in the workplace right now, because we can get ahead of that and train our employees before something happens that then we have to react to the bad thing that happens. Instead, Karen and I will share with you kind of some training type that you can do ahead of time so that none of those things happen. So we hope you'll join us, and we hope you'll contribute to the questions, because we really want to answer the questions that you want to hear. So thanks again, and thanks, Karen, and we hope to see you next week.